Okay, the first part.
Can you add one? Ask them to be seated. Ask guests. The next session will begin shortly. Would all guests please be seated?
Ladies and gentlemen, the next session will begin shortly. Please find your seat. Thank you.
Yes.
Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the thematic session Co-Design Success, Creative Collaboration, Human Touch in the Age of AI-Driven Design, Crafting Tomorrow's Design with Technology, Tradition and Cross-Cultural Innovation. Signore e signori, benvenuti e bentornati alla sessione tematica Co-Design di Successo, Collaborazione Creativa, il tocco umano nell'era del design guidato dalla I, tecnologia, tradizione e innovazione interculturale per creare progetti di domani. A kind reminder that this session will be conducted in English. For those of you using the interpretation headset, please choose channel 1 for Italian. La sessione tematica sarà in inglese. Per coloro che stanno utilizzando il sistema di traduzione simultanea, si prega di selezionare il canale 1 per italiano. The session will be moderated by Mr. Magic Kwan Chun-Sing, founder and design director of Architecture and All. May I remind everyone that there will be a Q&A session after the panel discussion. You may submit your questions online by scanning the QR code on the screen during the Q&A session. Without further ado, may I invite our moderator, Mr. Magic Kwan, along with the panel speakers to come on stage. They are Ms. Etain Ho, founder and director of Canalside Studio, Mr. Stanley Kwok, co-founder of Knitworm Limited, Mr. Manfred Yuen, RIBA Chartered Architect, founding partner of Groundwork Architects, Mr. Tat Lai Wong, co-founder of Arta Architects, Mr. Wingmin Whitman Yeung, founder and the creative director of WHY Brand Consultancy, and Ms. Kylie Chow, director and co-founder of Pairing Onions Design. And we will now pass the time to Mr. Magic Kwan to lead the panel discussion. Mr. Kwan, the floor is yours. Thank you.
Thank you. Salve, everyone. I'm Magic Kwan, the moderator for today's session panel. So our today's topic is human touch in the age of AI-driven design, crafting tomorrow's design with technology, tradition, and cross-cultural innovation. I know it's a mouthful, right? So you can think of it as like we're human designers in a party and the robots just crashed in and want to take our role. Well, that's basically it for the past 2.5 years, ever since ChatGPT 2.5 came over. And everybody was doing their own version of it. And we're now doing like image generation, videos, shifting from 2D models to 3D models, and then plug it back in, you know, you name it. So how does that really change our flow of, you know, the whole methodology? And today we have, you know, 6 esteemed, really brilliant young guns, relatively, right? But they're all like really, really popular in Hong Kong. So how do we fight the robots, right? We still have a few decades to live in. So today, like as Hong Kong representatives, we of course is famous for like our Eastern or Oriental heritages. We are really hyper efficient. We are like open-minded, and we know where the gaps are when we fill it, right? But at the same time, we don't always just talk about speed. We know how to balance, you know, our nature and our built form. We know how to modernize the Chinese aesthetics and keep the like local traditions in our daily lives. So I think today, as a moderator, I really want to pick all your brains. Feel free to share anything you want in the time limit, and I hope we have a fruitful discussion. So after the everybody's discussion, I'll be sharing my own. We'll have open floor, and then the floor is yours. So without further ado, let's start. Our first speaker is Etain. Thanks.
Hi, my name is Etain, and my studio is called Canal Studio. And our work span across architecture, interior, and product design. Today, I want to go into more details of the Aberdeen Fisherman Wharf projects. So that's how the Aberdeen Typhoon Shelter looks in the past, in the 20s. And there was a saying that the name Hong Kong actually came from this area because the Cantonese of Aberdeen is called 香港仔. So Hong Kong is like kind of the Hong Kong仔is kind of the origin of the name. And that's how the area evolved over the years in the 60s, 70s. And that's how it looks nowadays. So the client is like a very young descendant of a local fisherman, and he wants to revamp this area into like a tourist spot. And he got this very rundown on-land area and the exterior for us to work on. So we just did a very simple revamp of the on-land area, and then we focus onto the interior design. So that's how it looks at the beginning. And we decided to keep the mosaics of the existing floor, which is quite characteristic of the domestic setting of Hong Kong in the past. And we just basically tune up the color background, and we add in the wooden shutters to give a beigey background. And then we put in the very striking blue ceiling flags as like a feature. And during the design stage, we use a computer to help us design the color shading. And during the experiments, we found that the white edges was actually quite important to keep the effect prominent. Otherwise, the blue would just merge into one big blob, and it doesn't look very nice. And that's how the interior looks like. So it was like horrible. And this is a visual. So during the design stage, we found that the wall on the left-hand side was quite bland. So we decided to help the clients to design a few posters for them to sell, as well as to decorate the space. So that's how it looks in the end. We put the poster onto the wall, and they can sell, and we also make the space look nicer in like a cost-effective way. So left-hand side is the visual, and that's how it looked in the end on the right. So for the poster, we use AI to generate all these posters. And we try to project like a fantasized version of this area to make it more exciting, because the area is not that exciting. It's just full of history, but it's not too exciting to tourists. So that's the area where the visitor will board the boats. And that's the exterior of the site, and we make it look more beautiful. And that's the breakwater area with the Llama Island at the back with the sunset. And this is a portrait of the floating seafood restaurant, which no longer exists right now. And moving on to another boat, which is connected to the houseboat you've seen just now, we use graphic to animate this almost rundown boat as well. On the backrest, we got this scalloping shape, and it diminished towards the end to give like a false perspective of the wavy pattern. And most importantly, we incorporate the client mascot, Dodo, into the pattern. And finally, for this project, we have another boat, which is like a shuttle boat to connect people from the land to the floating seafood restaurant, which no longer exists. But it's a quite long history if we go into that. So that's what left nowadays. And we repair this boat on the shipyard just next within the typhoon shelter. So it's quite interesting because the shipyard is quite old and industrial. And then at the back, it was like a really brand new luxurious residential tower. For in the interior, we did a very simple revamp as well. And what we did most importantly is to incorporate the client audio guide system onto the table so that it looks like a big bus, but it's a big boat touring around the typhoon area. And lastly, I want to talk about furniture of our own design, which we don't have any client, which we do whatever we want to do. So it's like a scale-up version of the ball bearing. So you can sit, 2 people can sit on top of it, and then we can turn around. And for this project, we also make poster to tell people what we want to do. So on the left-hand side is an event that we join with the design center, which is called a BOD Dub in the City. So that's how we envision the ball bearing being in the city. And on the right-hand side, the poster is an event we joined with the HKDTC, Home in Style this May. And currently, we want to make a much larger prototype, which is that one with a lot of people sitting onto it. And we want to find like an opportunity or maybe a sponsor to help us like try to make this happen. So we always make this poster to make it look nice. Yeah. Yeah, thank you.
Wonderful. Very colorful. I have a irrelevant question. Has anybody told you it looks really yummy?
Yummy. Oh, the donut. Yes.
Yeah, it looks like bagel with a lot of cream puffs in it.
Yes.
Oh yeah, and 雞蛋仔. 雞蛋仔 is like, how do you translate that? Egg waffles, egg-shaped waffles, but it's very quintessentially Hong Kong dessert. And nowadays, you insert a lot of different ice creams and fruits and fillings in it. Just kidding. But the serious question. So it's really nice that your work is really all-encompassing in history, culture, and especially like location-based, because that boat is actually, if you look at it, it's very kind of messy, right? It's a bit like everywhere in Hong Kong. So my question is, when you was approached by the client, you had this site which is a floating structure, which is kind of old, as you said, and you decide to design these posters and flags. How do you decide what to hand on to AI, as you mentioned, for that part, and how do you brief it? Like, how do you drive it?
Yeah, basically we give all those prompts that we want, but then it will come up like not the things that you imagine them to be. So I think the process is more by generating and then by elimination. And then you will eliminate them to a point where you think that the image is suitable for that. And then you will have to extract that image together with other graphics elements to compose something specific for the poster. Yeah.
Just one last short question. If you're given the chance to not redo it, but just do whatever you want to improve it, unless it's perfect, right?
Yeah.
What do you want to do with the boat project in Aberdeen?
I would like to play with the exterior, like apply the graphics onto the exterior as well, if you have the budget and the time. Yeah.
Thank you, Etain.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, it was a really nice beginning, because floating communities are very, very distinctive in Hong Kong, and we have over like 300 beaches around the city. So after Etain, we will have Stanley from Knit Warm. Technology cannot happen without human touch, but most importantly, cannot happen without human warmth. So we'll have Stanley share with us his really amazing products with warmth. Thanks.
Thank you. Hi, everyone. I'm Stanley. My company is Knit Warm. I'm also from the Hong Kong Science Park. What we're going to see is we are having using a Hong Kong invention, and then we do the design in Hong Kong, and also we're manufacturing in Hong Kong. In any case, if you are interested, our project will be protected by our patent, which is already, because our technology is already patented in Europe, in USA, China, and Hong Kong, of course. So. This is something that we are working on. So from all the projects I'm going to mention is from this smart textile. So we're using a silver conductive yarn to have it constructed inside the fabric. So it is washable, it's reusable, and and it's breathable, and it's just a very cozy temp. It go up to like a very cozy temperature, 45 degrees Celsius, and you can also control from your app. So it's something like we want to have the fashion tech for different projects. So we just start from a, I would say is our category like a thermal style. So like, you know, a scarf that I'm wearing. So it's a scarf that is not so big, but it gives you a very cozy, comfortable temperature. And we also earned the Red Dot Award in 2023. So actually, we won the judges for its new proven materials, for its skin friendliness, breathability, and flexibility. So you can imagine, like, you know, you can stay in style and with the warmth. So we also have like the same smart textile that in a different shape. We have it as a beanie, but we want to make it more transformable. So in 2 seconds, you can slide it down and wear it as a neck warmer. And at the same time, it's highly functional in the cold environment. So in fact, our smart textile is very flexible that can wrap around your body part and the body joints. So we're not just doing for just for style. It's actually like, you know, we're moving on to like active therapy. So for some cases, like, you know, the shoulder is one of the difficult part that you can do the heat therapy at home. Maybe you have to take a hot shower, but it didn't last long. Like maybe you can only stay for like 10 minutes, I would say. But with our smart textile, it's fully cover your shoulder, and it's very light in weight. And most importantly, it's flexible. So we have won the German Design Award for its ergonomic design that you can just wear it under your clothes. And at the same time, you have the heat therapy and no one's noticed. And most importantly, you stay flexible and you can move around with your shoulder. And we also have like a structural belt that wrap around your waist and good for your abdomen or lower back, or even you can wrap around your shoulder or your neck when you're at home seeing the Netflix. And we also won the Australian Good Design for its, like, you know, a clever solution to deliver the heat therapy with our smart textile. So we're not just doing the project ourselves, we also co-create. This is one of the project that we're doing with other parties. We have the Kiko, and then we also use another technology, IMU+, which is a antivirus and antibacterial materials. We do it on the pouch, and we have our knit worm on the handle. So it's a reusable gadget that you can travel around with, and we are the first. We are the first Hong Kong team to have the German Design Award with the circular design, which they only introduced last year. And then we're moving forward to a travel tech because our smart textile can fold. So we have a cushion and blanket convertible. So you can turn over the cushion as a blanket, or you can fold it back as a cushion, and then you can also fold it as a neck pillow. This project, we want to do a more inclusive design that they can bring to the plane, or they can buy it for their family. Maybe they travel with wheelchair. And then the Good Design Australia, like our the transformable, and then also the eyes of the lens of sustainability. And it brings us global with different parties, and we also have the Singapore version of this one.
You have any slides or last words to wrap up?
Yes, and then we also have a store relationship, a smart textile that with a store, and you can sit around and then talk to each other, and then in the community.
Thank you, Stanley. As we can see, like Stanley is really prolific, and yeah, please round of applause for him. Yeah, really, really creative, and prolific award winner as well. So my question is, your products are among the most relevant in terms of human touch. And when we were walking yesterday night to Duomo, it was freezing. We were waiting for the Uber that never came. And your products proved to be really useful. So my question is very simple. Since you already woven tech with a very gentle material to help with human comfort, to move forward, in terms of tech integration, do you have any ideas you want to use if you want to invent future products or updated versions?
I think because what we're trying to do is having we always say without a human touch the technology is cold, and then without the technology, the human touch is limited. So what we're trying to do, because we're not just doing something with just the function, but also with the aesthetic. But with the aesthetic, I think we could have more, sometimes we have more options, we can play around with the AI and then generate some more ideas. But at the end of the day, we still have our choice on how to use it or where to use it. So this is how we want to do it for next level, to do more collaboration or co-creating.
Got it. We look forward to your other products. Thank you, Stanley. So now we will have Manfred, a very well-established architect from Hong Kong. His firm's work is really playful and really, a lot of them are eye candies. But I think today we want to hear about his honest pivot from not so AI embracing to something else. Let's have Manfred. Thanks.
I really spent some time writing an answer to your question, other than just selling myself. So my question today is, shall we say no to AI as architects? I know every one of you have an answer. I'll tell you mine. I never believe in computation. I think architecture, it's a vessel for relationships. Imagine if you're in a house that you always have quarrel with your family. It's not a home. The building is just a building, right? But it's really about the bondings that you are harnessing in that architecture, and you call this architecture. So imagine if you're building for fish. Do you think it's more important to have a really beautiful aquarium or the quality of the water, right? So I think our dilemma is we are always destined or educated to build good aquariums instead of good water, right? So I think that's our belief. And that's something you can't animate ever with AI, because these parameters, relationship with your friends, family, relationship with the objects, relationship with nature, and sometimes the relationship by yourself, is the function of an effective architecture, other than a building. So what is the apparatus as architects? First, we have scale. We play with scale. Your work plays with scale. Your work with another scale, and all of you will play with scale. Some of our schools play with different scales because children have different scales than us. Occupation. We like to sometimes think that we would like to be at the standard of stage number 5, but as kids, we like number 3. We like secretive spaces, corners. We like colors. Look at my socks. Or sometimes we don't like colors, okay? So this is our parameter. We deal with mobility. So we deal with the fluidity of spaces. Finally, we deal with abstractions, right? Light, shadows, sound, ambience, fragrances, right? So this is what we do. This is our tools. And this is why it takes 7 years or 5 years to be in architectural school, right? And you can't do this with AI because they cannot create. Then I'll give you a few examples. For example, this school that we built in Shenzhen, where we introduced a Montessori education with a pedagogy with architecture. None of the walls are straight. The client had to support this, of course, and rightly so, and they did. And none of that you can do it in AI because you cannot tell the computer to create a what we called a pedagogically friendly school, and what we come up with? They cannot generate that. So it has to be a human touch. It has to be a human answer, and the curves and the way that we bend these spaces must be crafted by human, right? And also the interplay of shadows. This is the final product. This is an actual kindergarten in Shenzhen. That none of the walls are straight, where we have the library as the main hall. It's like clouds. We introduce abstractions, light coming in from the atrium. There's a shift of material when it goes up to the building. It transits from very minimal material to wood, to heavier material, because as the kids goes up, they can recognize the school. None of the windows are windows, but they are geometries. The doors are slits. None of that can be done by AI, okay? So we strongly believe, and at the time, when we built that in 2019, right? We strongly believe what we're heading is the right way, right? And that's before Midjourney and Stable Diffusion, okay? Now, all that success by the client and by the response from the schools, employees and the kids, we felt that we have nailed it, you know? We keep on doing that, we'll be okay. Then we have other commissions that allows us to employ this apparatus into a different topology, which is an office space. It's a very unusual office space or sales office because it's not a traditional building where it's just for working. It's also to showcase the power of the corporation. So what we played with is yin yang. So you're going into a dark space and then the bright space. The dark space is perfect to enrich your experience, and that's very Chinese. And you can't do that AI, right? So we actually did a very bold move. We did a view, and the whole thing becomes a big screen. We sacrifice a lot of our GFA just for that effect, and the client buys it. And it was a sensation back then, and that's 2023. Then there is a Midjourney. There is still Stable Diffusion, right? But this is not the final nail in the coffin. We're playing with shadows. So none of that you can work with AI because you still need to pick up those apparatus and put in a space. Okay, so we are very confident, right? Then even we designed this Hong Kong Design Center, where the whole space is a flexible space, allowing space to gel together. It's like a model where things can move. It's very flexible for curators, for artists to inject their creativity there. It's like blank canvas. It has a strong relationship with a very kind of ghetto-ish neighborhood, which is called Sham Shui Po. So it's introducing, allowing the indoor to work with the outdoor kind of rough scenery. And this is what we have done at the beginning. And now I welcome you all to Hong Kong to go to the Hong Kong Design Center. And it's going to be next week, the BOW Center, BODW. Now, then, and this is, I'm closing. I have this friend called Xuan Fang. You know Xmind? It's a software that you make mind maps. And he's the founder. He's actually Chinese. He's a good friend. And I had a conversation about AI with him. He's an IT guy, right? And I said, do you think AI would replace us? And he said, you know, if all the coffee beans in the world are free, do you think there are more cafes? Now, this is a very good question because I've been to a lot of cafe in Milan these 3 days. I would say yes. There will be more cafes. Better cafes, better baristas, better ambience, right? Because it liberates you from the mundanity of the works that you don't want to do, like grinding the beans, buying the beans, because they're all free. So now, we did our first project, our famed philosophy. We put it down into a script, and we generate a shopping mall for the EMA group in Dubai. It's a very, very big shopping mall, and we're doing interior design. So, and the client bought it, and we're doing that. And from then onward, we create Ran, which is a art department of my own liking. We're creating these spaces and AI, and we're building it actually. We're building the first one in Chengdu with crossovering with some really interesting brands. I can't tell you who. And we're all doing that because the visualization and the modeling can be done by AI. It liberates us from the mundanity, right? So my short conclusion is, I think we don't need to nemesize about AI, but we should be able to identify it as the agent of how we should employ it on our work. So I think it's truly a liberator for us. Now I changed, right? From a non-believer to a believer. And hopefully, in our new office in Shanghai, which in 2006, we will creating, it will be exclusively dedicated AI department from our company and my own artwork. So, and this is my relationship with you guys, Thomas. This is such a great magazine. In 2018, they actually featured us being rebellious. Now, my rebellion stops here because we are now wrapping up. If you want to meet on more of my story, I welcome you to listen to my TED Talk, which is might find online. So we say no? I don't know, but let's discuss. Thank you.
Thank you, thank you. I think Manfred basically answered my initial question when I was drafting. I can tell you put some effort in it. Thank you. So my question will be short because you definitely demonstrated like a lot of maturity over the years, and you tested different techniques, and you're able to complete them in perfection. So the short question is, where does it stop? Now that you already, your company or your team is adopting it, and you are able to build it, and you're able to control it, how do you control the degree of integration? I know there's no right or wrong answer, but I just want to know, like, how do you move forward? Because AI is, especially like generative AI, is here to stay. And at some point, as successful as your team and you, sometimes we need to question ourselves as well.
I don't think we are even touching the tip of the iceberg, because we're only using AI for pleasing our client these days, right? We're only simply using it for a presentation visually. We're not using them for construction. We're not using them for CFD, computational fluid dynamics. Not yet, but we will. We're not using them for construction. We're not using them to simulate fire like what we otherwise, tragedy in Hong Kong might be able to be prevented, right? Because if we went with AI, then some material will be forbidden. So we are only teaching the 0.01% of AI, and it doesn't stop. So I think I agree with Elon Musk. We must govern it. before we have a governance on AI, we should not be allowing it to be prevalent. It should be controlled, because otherwise, not just our profession, but humanity will be jeopardized, right? So I think there will be we are heading towards a small step. I think a lot of drafting work and the testing work on real site model could be done by AI. But I think after that, there should be a stop, because first they may take over our jobs, right? The client can do it themselves. But I think it's truly threatening to humanity if we stop individualizing architecture. That means none of the spaces will have characters. It will be a repeat of what has been done, because AI will never tell you what's in the future, right? You have really good designers in Italy, like visionaries, like Enzo Manzi, Bernini, Armani. We've been to the showroom last year. It's true innovation, right? You can't AI it, because AI is something that's done before. So take this small step, then stop. Then we let it roll for a while, let robotics do its work, then robotics will come back to construction. Then we can test it again. At least that's my answer in a nutshell.
Yeah, I just want to put a footnote on what you just said. In fact, while we are here, the first night, I guess, right? I think a catastrophic accident happened while we were here in Hong Kong. I'm not sure you guys followed. I think it will be one of the worst fire accident in urban built form in human history, at least for the first 30 years. In 2017, there was Grenfell fire in London. 70-ish people died. This time is like 8 times that. I think you point to a right point is AI might not just be like pleasing the clients or doing better eye candies or aesthetically pleasing stuff. Can it be used for mature designers, as you guys or us, for something that's just for the betterment of human? And sometimes we're so busy in dealing with all the changes from the clients or the cost constraints, we overlooked a lot of things. Now that we're liberated to a certain extent, I think it's going back to the basics where we overlook stuff. AI might, pat our back on that. And I think that's really important. Okay, that being said, we now have another architect, very successful as well, Tat from Arta. Thanks, Tat.
Okay, hello everyone. I'm Tat from Arta Architects. So we founded our company 4 years ago, myself and my partner Arnold. So the reason was it was COVID in 2020 and we had nothing better to do. So we joined a lot of design competitions and luckily we won 4 of them. So that gave us the confidence to start our company. I know today's topic is about AI. So very funny thing is, me and Arnold, we agree on almost everything. That's why we have a very successful company. But we do not agree on AI. So we have very contrasting views, kind of like this discussion today. But just a bit more on how we got to where we are. So we met when we were working at IDIS in Hong Kong. That experience really expanded our minds. Because our team, we did some pretty unique projects for Hong Kong standards. Say we did this hoarding design, which was the first of its kind to be done in such an extravagant way. And what we realized was in Hong Kong, a lot of people think trying to be creative, trying to do architecture, there's so many constraints from the building regulations. But we always found that instead of using that as an excuse, we always found that with constraints, we actually can find the opportunities, and that's how we can create unique architecture. So about the topic today, so I am on the side that is highly against AI. I guess in a way, I'm very old school. I believe good design comes from so many different things, such as humans, emotions, stories, your life experiences, all these things, it kind of happens magically when all these experience turns into a good design. Also in our works, for inspiration, such as this image, we always look to things like nature, organic landscapes, light and shadow, like in a lot of Manfred's works, different colors, different transparencies, different opacities. These all inspire us so much, and I feel like this is so far away from the world of computers and prompts and AI. So I think going through our projects, maybe you can see a bit more of our process and why we are so against AI. So our company name stands for Art and Architecture. And so for all projects, we try and always merge artistic concepts with the spatiality and forms of architecture. For example, the first ever concept we came up with, we use this concept of exploding fireworks. And by exploding a firework, we can create a portal for people to walk through and to experience fireworks in a different way, as if you're inside a firework. So that was our first ever proposal. Yeah. And from then on, I think our ideas have developed. Say, we have expanded to do architecture, landscape, interior, and art installations. And we believe that by doing such a diverse range of designs, it really helps us to continuously expand our creativity. We're also very lucky that in the past few years, we got to do many public projects along the Hong Kong harborfront. And from these experiences, we learned that what the public need in installations is works that can encourage community interactions, works that can be open to the public to freely interpret how to use it themselves, and works that can stimulate their senses and emotions. And again, hopefully these are all things that are very far away from AI. So a few examples of our projects is, this is a canopy that we created with 30,000 plastic bottle caps. So we hope this will encourage people to live more sustainable lifestyles. This is our flexible chair design for tycoon. So if you notice through the form of the chair, we can actually tell the story of tycoon's very unique mix of historical rooftops and modern floating architectural boxes. And also the furniture is fully flexible, so it can cater to any kinds of events or performances. This work at Manfred's building at the Hong Kong Design Center, this is our first kinetic art installation where we use hand-dyed fabric to create this installation that celebrates and captures the ever-changing and flowing forms of fabrics, which is also related to the local context nearby. So this is our recently completed project at the Hong Kong Maritime Museum in Central. The story of this project was to celebrate this really historical anchor. And so on this site with very limited buildable area, we created these concrete steps, which allowed us to raise the anchor high up in the air for a different perspective. And then we designed this pavilion to create an interesting interplay and dialogue with the anchor. We flipped the pavilion to reveal the internal structure of boats that we never see. And then we were able to morph this form into a reinterpretation of traditional and modern boat forms, which celebrates what the museum stands for. And the form of the pavilion was designed so that the interior can be an immersive art tech experience. And so this is actually quite unique, is there are very few semi-outdoor projection spaces, especially in Hong Kong. And so when users are here, they can have this very close connection to the harbor right next door. And the pavilion from one side, if we look at it, we see these wood textures that represents the traditional materials used in boats. Whereas if we look from the other side, we see these silver metallic textures that represents the steel materials used in modern boats. So our pavilion captures both the past and present of Hong Kong maritime history. Also at night, the pavilion and the anchor become lighting sculptures. So we hope it creates a new cultural landmark for the city of Hong Kong. This project, we used a twisting concept to, next to his site. Twisting concept to maximize the sea views and to create different outdoor spaces with these houses. This project is for the Aberdeen Boat Club, the before, and we used nautical concepts and we retain historical elements to give the club a fresh new outlook, but at the same time, keeping a very strong connection to the past. And more of the space. So this is our hotel design where the wall on the left-hand side, the wallpaper and the headboard, we actually retained from the existing hotel room to save money. And so the rest of the design, we had to make it so it matches with the existing materials, but at the same time creates a hip and new outlook. So these past few years, we've been very lucky to win a lot of awards, have a lot of publicity, very diverse clients. But I think in summary, I don't know if you noticed, but do you notice anything, a common theme with all our projects? Well, the one common theme was no AI was used in any of our projects because we don't believe in having a style. We believe in having a methodology, which is to use our concept of art and architecture to create designs that are very specific to each site, each client, and each user. And I believe that as architects and as designers, we have to believe that our way of creating new and innovative designs is much more powerful than anything AI can do. So, yeah, that'll be us.
Thank you, Tat. Just a friendly reminder, they started in 2021. So that's within 5 years of achievement. That's a meteoric rise. That being said, you haven't answered our question. Like you said, there was a disagreement between you and Arnold. So how did that go?
How did that go is, at the moment, we are still okay with not using AI. I've won the battle for now. But potentially we will use some AI just for very mundane and brainless things that actually, if it's done by AI, it can free up time for us to do more creative work. So that'll be the only benefit of AI that I see.
Right, so it's a liberator, basically. So I wonder, like, what's Arnold's take?
He believes we need to embrace technology, embrace the future. But yeah, I still believe that our ideas are so as a designer, I don't know if you guys get that feeling where maybe you're working on an idea and sometimes you're lost. But sometimes it's usually on a day where you're not at the office. Maybe you've gone hiking in the morning, you've experienced nature, but suddenly that afternoon something clicks and you find the idea. I feel that for us, design and architecture, there is this magical element that you cannot explain that is so much about experiences and humans and emotions that AI scares me because I don't want AI to take that side away from us. Yeah.
No, really, like, I think that you pointed out the human touch on that regard. And yeah, going hiking can preserve our human touches.
Yeah, even like sometimes our best ideas comes on the airplane when you look out the window and you see the beautiful sky, or
having a shower.
Yeah. Or
yeah, you're right.
Yeah, on train rides, those are the best studio times I find.
Because no matter it's AI or human brain, our brain is always functioning. but you just have to give it some time to rest, and it would create the solution for you. A quick follow-up question, because I think it's really relevant while we were here in Milan, is since you guys are successful in just a couple of years, and Hong Kong's, scene of building buildings is really challenging in a lot of ways, a lot of legislative restrictions, budget concerns, risk aversions and stuff. How do you guys manage to score so many projects and make the clients happy?
I think we just got lucky. Being at the right place at the right time, and then when we get the opportunities, you just have to take those opportunities. And also a lot of our projects, they started very small. So the project for Aberdeen Boat Club, actually at first they came to us just to look for a design and style guide for their renovations. And I don't know, maybe many other more established designers, they would not want to do such a small task. But say we would put all our effort into this, we really impressed the client. And so that's how they first found us to do 2 toilets, and then eventually the rest of the clubhouse. So I think for young designers, it's don't be afraid to start small. You don't know where each opportunity can take you.
Thank you so much. So after Tat, we'll have William. And William first trained not as a designer, but in physics. So let's welcome William.
Okay, right. Is it? Hello, everyone. My name is William. It's a pleasure to be here. So this is a little bit background about myself and also my company. I studied my first degree in physics, and I minored in humanity. And afterward, I started multimedia design technology. And finally, I graduated in branding at London College of Communication. So throughout the last 15 years, I spent over 10 years in London, and I also work in Stockholm and Sapporo in branding. So 3 years ago, I started my first business in London, and then this year, we moved to Central in Hong Kong. We always believe that strategy, creativity, and AI technology, they should work seamlessly because they are equally important. And our service is really have a big range because we believe that branding is about every touching point. And in our philosophy, we believe that simplicity and seamlessness is always the most important. Simplicity is about staying focused. It sounds simple, but in it is extremely hard because in our society, there are too much noise and chaotic is everywhere. TEDx Houses of Parliament, I'm sure you are very familiarized with tech. And their positioning is about idea worth spreading. And we got a special edition in the Houses of Parliament. So we simply combined the sound wave together with the Houses of Parliament to create this logo for them. National Autistic Society, this is the previous society logo, which is not very effective and also hard to communicate. And even worse is, in tradition, you can see that on the left-hand side, autistic people, they always being labeled as one of the spot on this linear spectrum, which is really discriminated. And in physics, we all know that when RGB colors add together, it becomes white. So we turn the linear spectrum into a circle. It's not only represent them, it's also about the unity and also the equality about us. So we are all as one. For a lodge, it's a small hotel in Scotland near Notchless. And there is a famous waterfall. And there is a famous, even more famous poemist, Robert Burns. I'm sure everyone know him. And he got a poem for this waterfall. So we combine the art, history, culture, and literature together with the waterfall and become this logo for the boutique hotel. Of course, a brand is not about a logo. A logo is only just like 1% of a brand. But we need to get a focusing point to narrow down all this chaotic in the society. And after we get this point, we can expand it to infinity amount, that what we want, to every touching point, to create a memorable experience. So for National Autistic Society, we are really lucky that we got 100% of satisfactory from the autistic people. For a lodge, we got a Michelin hotel in 2025 and become one of the best top 50 boutique hotel in the world. TEDx, there are over 1,000 of attendance, and there are 100,000 views online, and become one of the most successful TEDx events in London. In this post-AI era, I think our company is not only about as a user of AI, but we also take our initiative to become actively create the AI tool, the technology for our customer to enhance their user experience. Motion identity for multiverse. This is a poster competition in Hong Kong. Every 3 years we got once. And then the theme is about multiverse. So we play around the Chinese and the English character. So we create this tool for our client, which using program. The client just need to put any images they want into our system, and then it can automatically generate from one image to another. And they can put tons loads of image as much as they want. You know, in this nowadays, the social media need a lot of impact, and also the speed is really high. So I think with this tool, our client can easily generate anything they want immediately and make a post maybe an hour afterward. We also have an exhibition now in Hong Kong, and there is a lot of interactivity. We use technology to bring the immersive experience to the exhibitions. So how we can, you know, a branding, like what I said, is about every touching point. So when we are able to combine our creativity and our insight from human, and we can also bring technology to scale up so that all application we can easily bring together and create an impact. CMU is the most important system for HKMA to secure the safety for the global trade. And they need to create a new company for their business. So we go through a 360 branding process for them. From the brand story, visual identity, tone of voices, copywriting, all around. And we also create a tailor-made program for them so that you can see that there are 50,000 dots automatically, randomly to run around in the space to represent the global trade and all the data transmission behind. And we creating the brand starting from the print, digital, to the installation. And we also create a lot of a 3D experience. And we go to filming to create a brand videos as well. And more important, no matter what technology we use, consistency is the most important. Finally, I believe that no matter you love the technology of AI or you enjoy the traditional craftsmanship, I think keeping joy in heart is the most important, because craftsmanship gives our work soul, and technology gives our work scale. And most important, joy is give our work meaning. Winter Wonderland in Central is now happening in Hong Kong, so welcome to visit if you've got a moment in the Christmas time. We create a logo inspired the Christmas tree there. W, playing with double play with the W and also the Christmas tree. And there is a hidden W, there is the ring around the tree. And there are two concepts. In Central, is the Central is the most important business district in Hong Kong. So we also double play the ideas that the W sign is always at the center, no matter what kind of application. And the other thing is about connecting people. and also bringing joy together. We also bring the patterns, the exterior from Hong Kong buildings, so become our Christmas, Happy Christmas pattern as part of the identity. And finally, you know, the W can be really flexible to work together with illustration, typography, and become energetic and also a flexible system throughout the campaign identity. And I believe no matter how the technology is going to develop, I think keeping the joy at heart is the most important, because it's helped us to create the impact, memorable, and most important, to become human. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Not sure if the audience or the speakers has noticed the reason why I put William after Tat, because they're almost the exact opposite. So my question for William is, since you started off, you know, having a lot of successful distillations of concepts into graphical motifs for branding, for telling stories, and capturing attention, and now that you're embracing a lot of scripted technology, for example, in the Triennale poster event, my question is reversed. If your ability to use any of these scripted technology or like programming, for example, or AI generative tech is taken away from you, are you able to still operate as good as you are to move forward?
Yeah, I think absolutely. I think we are in a very exciting moment that half of our experience is living without AI technology, and now we are facing the transitional time, which is really exciting moment that we are capable, every designer here now, to work together with AI, to embrace AI, but at the same time, we are still keeping our soul to be independent, that no matter what changes, the computer is broken down, we can just immediately to do the sketches ourselves. So I think now is the best moment for designer and enjoying the technological progression for this moment.
Thank you, William. So now we'll have Kylie. Kylie is a really good spatial designer for interiors and architecture as well. Thank you, Kylie.
Thanks, Magic. Hi, this is the name of my design studio called Paring Onions, a funny name. So we are an interior design studio based in Hong Kong. And so Hong Kong is just like a geographical location. Our clientele is globally, it's around the globe. This is me. So I'm the design director and the co-founder of our studio. At the same time today, I'm also representing HKDA, Hong Kong Interior Design Association, and also HKDA, Hong Kong Designer Association as well. Back in year 2012, sono studentessa alla Milano, alla Thomas Academy, and also I did my internship at Fondazione Achille Castiglione, which was a life-changing experience to me. So Milan to me is a place where I learned how to do design, I learned how to drink, I learned how to fall in love. And I would say Milan actually shaped a big part of me. And I would call myself a weird mixture of like part Italian, part Chinese. Milan taught me how to respect culture, how to respect history. But you got to break the rule for a little bit. You got to be a little bit naughty sometimes. But as a part Chinese, like most Asian kids, I'm super obsessed with technologies, like with gadgets. So this is what I have whipped up in the past 13 years since I started my own studio. So this is our first project. We actually didn't land in Hong Kong. We landed our first project in Australia. So we're exporting my own culture, Chinese culture, with the dancing teacups. This is handcrafted in my country. And then we integrated with fiber optics as the light source. Well, don't laugh at me. It was an advanced technology back 13 years back. So that's the naughty part of me. And then from that project, it brought me back to my hometown, Hong Kong, and we did Conrad Hotel. And also we got invited to participate in a project in Wuhan. It's actually, the investment is from Australia. And they want to do something that the local community could understand, which is in Wuhan, but at the same time they don't want it to be like too Chinese. They want it to be more like international. So that's why we did something like this. And also another project in Australia. And this is our latest project. It's inside a casino called Sky City in Adelaide, Australia. So this is a current project that I'm in love with because we have created a very cinematic, whimsical Chinese restaurant in Australia. So look at that, it's super dreamy. And you know what, we were visiting Armani Silo yesterday, and I got inspired that good design shouldn't require much explanation, which I'm going to keep silent for the next few slides. And let's have a look at this project. Okay. So you can see, to me, Chinese culture is super whimsical. You know, we have dragons. You know the movie Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon? You know, it's super cinematic. But how do we achieve that in Australia, which is across the Pacific Ocean? When you saw those 4-meter traditional dragon columns, which is almost like handcrafted by old craftsmen in China. And how do we do that in Australia, which seems impossible? We actually got it locally made with technology. So we got the model built with computer, and then do I click one more time to play the video? Yeah. Okay. So this is similar to 3D printing, but it's actually like robotic arm carving technology. So this is like 4 years back, okay? It was still new. Now I can see this getting more like common. And we got these columns carved with robotic arms, and then adding an enhanced treatment on top of it. And then we finish it with reconstituted stone special paint so that it looks like a seamless stone carved dragon column, which is 4 meters tall. And our next challenge was, as you can see, we have created a great wall of paper folded fans. And we have to make this waterproof and fireproof, right? Because it's inside an interior space. So these fans, how do we make it happen in Australia? We actually leverage our connections in Asia in this case. So we got a craftsman in Japan. He actually helped us to make 8 different prototypes with different number of folds, different angles, so that we got the perfect shape of the fan that we want. And from that hand-folded fan, we made a mold that we can mold hundreds of them in non-woven fabric, so that this can become our like paper fan wall. So we did like numbers of prototypes, different types of folding, and until we reached this final prototype, you can see the pleat. It's you can see the beautiful fade from a flat surface from the tip, and then to separate folds. It's super elegant, and these cannot be built by computer. This has to be from like hand craftsmanship that has been developed in the past 100 years. Yeah. So our motto, as Hong Kong kid, we always embrace ourselves as a global citizen. So we make friends with everyone. So say, for example, in our project, we go to our Japan partner for the fan. We go to our Australian partner for the 3D crafting. And whatever makes it happen, we're happy to do business, yeah? And also, my Italian part taught me to respect culture. At the same time, we embrace innovation, which is technology. And what's our upcoming move? AI, artificial intelligence. You may not know, actually, during the last industrial revolution, the first marine fossil engine was built in China. This thing, this is the engine, and this is the factory that the magic happened, Etain Ho. And now what happened to that building? Because of the mistreated of the past years, it's been in a poor shape. And our task is to revitalize this space into a contemporary art museum. And what are the materials left for our team to study was a cold pile of reports and some old photos and some logbooks. And from those old logbooks, we actually spotted this character. We gave it a name, Mr. Lin, Master Lin, sorry. He was an engineer that who worked in the factory. And from those reports, we trained an AI bot, and that's Master Lin. So this is a term we set for Master Lin. He is a precise historical lens for us. He is not a fictional character. You see the difference? So he cannot lie. He cannot make up stories. Whatever he says, it has to be based on the reports. It has to be based on facts. And this is part of our secret recipe, the prompts that we used to train Master Lin. So we set up a persona, and we fed them with the reports. So that it actually makes it easier for our team to read those reports. We are building a ghost teammate who is from the 1915, who can have direct conversations with us and tell us how he thinks, what happened back then, and also he actually gave comments about our design. And this is what Master Lin reflected to us. Is an image generated by him, that how he worked with his teammates. So back in 1915, he thought that the last industrial revolution, everything was so machinery, was like avant-garde. It was already super advanced. Until we told him there's an idea of artificial intelligence, he was shocked. And he saw it as a new industrial revolution to him. Back then, the last one, everything was like solid. It was like solid metal, like solid machinery. Yeah? But now everything is floating in the air, like AI, data, nothing is solid. So actually, this conversation inspired our team. So that's why within the same historical space, we have created a floating metal block in the middle as a symbolic meaning of the latest AI industrial revolution. So this project is now under construction. So should be completed by early next year in China. So if you are interested in how it turns out, please stay connected. I'm happy to share more on our Instagram and our website. Grazie mille.
Thank you, Kylie. I'm sure you have a lot of insights in how to bridge traditional Chinese culture in an overseas context, as you had your training here as well. And I'm sure the audience would be very interested in talking to you after the session. My question would be very simple. Since you did a lot of technical fabrications, creating like Oriental motifs in a contemporary setting, how do you balance like those iconic symbols? Because it's fairly easy to use those symbols from ancient paintings, ancient architecture, or in ancient fashion. When you presented your solution to your clients, how do you choose? Like, why do you choose that dragon? And why did you use the CNC to mill it? You know, why didn't we use the craftsmen that are still living in somewhere in China, for example? I'm not judging. I just want to know how you balance your choices.
I think it goes back to the name of our studio, Paring Onions. So paring as in like paring back. You started with a lot of ideas, and then you start paring back what is not essential until you get the sweetest part. So it's actually our way of doing design. So just to answer your question, so how do we pick? So we often start with like tons of different motifs, you know, especially when you start to look up on the history background of the physical space. Yeah, especially for example that conversion project. But you got to be very like picky about the element and what is most representable to the space and what tells the story about it. And say, for example, that conversion project, that hip tone wall, yeah? It doesn't have to be a physical thing. The meaning behind it, Industrial Revolution, was actually the essence of the space, what tells the story. So that's why instead of like, for example, that project, instead of like building a new motif, we are building a symbolic, like floating metal block that represents the idea of the latest Industrial Revolution. And within that physical space, it actually witnessed the last one and the present Industrial Revolution. And does it answer your question?
For sure. I think there's no right or wrong answer again, but it's always about choices, no matter it's during the design process or use of methodology, or right now whether we want to adapt AI or not. It's really temporal, right? It's about time. Like when Manfred was saying, hey, I did some projects in a certain year before the advent of AI, or nowadays it's everywhere. So there's a hint of the year. And I think that year is important. And you mentioned about Industrial Revolution. That was also the defining moment back then, more than 100 years ago. So thank you, Kylie. Let's give a round of applause to Kylie first. So we actually have a bit of time left. Before we open to the floor for discussion, I also have a little bit of sharing. So basically, I don't want to really talk about a lot of built works from our company. Our office is called Architecture and All. I want to focus on the all, basically. We've heard, 6 remarkable sharings. So I think, everybody has their own stance on the adoption of AI. So I think the question isn't about whether to use it or not. You can choose to use it. You can choose to not use it. It's just about what is it for, right? How do we adopt it when we move forward? So for our company, we operate on just one simple motto: architecture and all is one. Because everything is related, right? What you do relates and affects each other. The environment, the users, everything. So we just want to try to build ecosystems or solutions in non-buildings. Of course, we won some awards here and there. We got published somewhere. But I want to focus more on just the journey. So my background was shaped when I, studied back in Hong Kong U for my bachelor's. And then later on, I went to the States. It's called UC Berkeley. It was famous for being really liberal. The hippies movement stemmed from there. And they marched all the way to Washington to, tell them not to fight in Vietnam War. So when we entered the school, they basically allow you to do whatever you want. And they stress a lot of like sustainability and care for the environment. And then after that, I came back, first to Japan and then to Hong Kong. But I taught a little bit for the master's. And there was a lot of iterative processes, which I'm sure everybody was familiar with. So the question is, how do we use our traditional training or the use of methodologies, but use a new lens? I'm going to share with the first project, which is about movies. So back in 2023, there was an exhibition organized by HKDA, Hong Kong Institute of Architects. So my proposal was to create a mini theater. You can see the white circular thingy. It traveled to different cities. But what we wanted to do is, how can we reimagine the lost spaces in Hong Kong? Because I'm sure everybody knows movies in Hong Kong is very famous. It spanned for many decades, starting from around the 50s when there was like colored movies. The first few colored movies was done by Americans, Hollywood producers. But then we tried to plow through around 30-ish movies. We didn't know what to do, but we had a hunch about we might see the spaces in those movies in a certain frame that still survives, and some doesn't survive. Does it play? Okay, it's around 1 minute. So I'm just gonna talk about it. So the more we looked at movies, the more we thought, we realized there were some spaces that were gone. Like these fishing villages are all gone, as Etain has touched upon. But this right here is still there, the central cluster. And this is Chongqing Mansion, and that's the escalator in Central. All in all, I'm just trying to say that when we did this manually, we were very excited because we can kind of compare different eras, and we still find a lot of places that are still here, but they were used differently. So I started with this project as a sharing is, now that we have AI, like Comfy UI, you can basically buy an NVIDIA graphic card, put it in your own rig, and run it for free. So you can automate all the steps. So it can basically like plow through these movies 24/7. And maybe they can categorize all these little spaces, and we can do a database, a catalog of all these used Hong Kong spaces around the city. And I think that's really important because Hong Kong is a very fast-paced and constantly changing and developing city. And I think that's really different from European cities like Milan. The second project I'm gonna show is we were tasked by the police merit headquarters called PMQ in Central to create a giant dragon art piece, basically. So our idea was really simple. Can we reinvent the motif from traditional woven bracelets that had a lot of nice blessings in Chinese New Year, but make it 3D? The whole dragon dances like a bracelet. It was okay. Like we used like scripts and stuff. We did it, but it was really hard because we drew this in digital space, and the structure was really a nightmare. And there was really no way, because when we approached several structural engineers, they had a hard time just to calculate this. Normally they would calculate it in a flat plane, and now you're like curving everywhere. So I think AI could maybe help when I do this now in 3 years later, or maybe on a more basic level, as some of you touched upon, for the ideation process, right? Let's say so the bracelet on the right, we wove that ourselves, right? We had that developed after we chose this pattern. But then this was done like 2 days ago. I just plugged this in. So now it's able to do anything you want. And I think the problem is not about whether it can do it, is now it can do infinitive solutions. So how do you choose it? Does it help your flow? The third project, in fact, it's gonna open tomorrow in Hong Kong. It's an art installation. We call it the Arrayed Identities. What it's trying to do is we want to capture the fleeting desires of human. So we want to sometimes be happy, sometimes feel comfortable, sometimes we just want to connect with each other, or just don't talk to me. So we want to liberate that process of designing some kind of wearables, let's say fashion, to define that moment of your desire. But it's hard because we went to Armani yesterday, right? They're all like masterpieces, but that was done by a master, and I can't really change it anymore. So what if we were able to quickly use the speed of AI with the hands of human to sketch or to tell it what emotions they want to reflect, or what kind of color or translucency or shape whatsoever. And then we create this kind of, short-term clothes. So the concept was that. So we try to use the tools that allowed us to do that. And luckily, I think it was 3 months ago, there was Google Banana. And then a few days ago, there was Google Banana Pro for free. A Nano Banana. Google Gemini Nano Banana. So the thing is, it's now able to create quickly based on your prompts, and you can feed any sketches you want. So you're now driving it better, right? Like that sketch was done by our team, but any kid can draw that, right? And then the effect is instant. Like when you control what it wants to change, you can basically use this tool to, have somebody take over the traditional designer role. And the individual knows what suits it best. So in the end, we created a software in-house. We were able to basically, let's say it's a questionnaire. So you upload your own photo or anybody's photo. You want it to specify any color, shape, emotions you want, any posture, and it would generate it. And then what, right? So the thing is, we're just trying to test this flow. We wouldn't really know what the outcome was. So on the left side, it's more like the first step. Like we had the idea, we gave it a sketch, AI churned that out on the left. And then we made a physical model. That was like a 3D printed model on the second slide. And then we did the rendering again. Then we went to factories that do like super large inflatable balloons, basically. These are small for them. These are small. They do like 10-story high balloons, PVC stuff. But the thing is, why are we doing this? Because we want people not just to stick with their phone, not to just look at pretty image on the screen. We want people to, just try to wear them or be inside that enclosure, and then you can feel it. Like, because nowadays AI is, pretty easy to use. But what if you've plugged that back into a workflow, and then you create something tactile? Like, for example, if you wear some of them, you can feel your breath. Like, you can feel the bouncing of the air from your nostrils back. And then the one on the right, which is darker, it's really like enclosed, like there's no echo basically. So it's pretty interesting, and it's going to be open tomorrow. So yeah, this is like a screenshot of the program we wrote, and it's on the right, and the left is basically the rudimentary version in Nano Banana. So sharing the same engine. This was also done a little earlier, back in 2023. We were just trying to use this tool to see what it could do. So our task was, what if we thought like a fashion designer, right? So we can design the fabric and the tectonics between those folds, and then we plug it in and let the AI dream a bit. So maybe we can create some kind of more fluid tectonics in terms of spatial creation. But that was like 2.5 years ago. So it was a bit harder for us to bring that dreamt space back to physical fabrication. But I think like it was yesterday's news. Meta, Facebook. Meta basically had a new AI program that could churn out any 3D model based on a 2D image. So what we're seeing here now could be really easily produced. And I think, when we were in school or when we interned after we graduated, we do a lot of physical models, It's just basically doing that process all over again, but with more curvatures and stuff. This one is a bit of a research project as well. We were not really doing any AI. We're just trying to create a modular floating farm and dining space to hug any beaches in Hong Kong. And as Etain has touched upon, the Jumbo floating restaurant is gone, and there were a lot of boat people back then. So eating on a boat next to the seaside is our culture. Since time is running short, I would skip this. So, that's the end for my sharing. And I just want to wrap this up with 1 or 2 questions for the floor. Anyone has a question? No. Okay. I'll do it. So let's say we're looking 10 years ahead of now, okay? Do you think it would actually wipe most of the designers out? That's a really, really simple question. Like, clients could do a lot of like this earlier stager stuff themselves these days. What's your take? I'm sure it should be no, right?
Maybe everyone's too scared.
I know, right?
And I think it will. I think we're waiting for the kick-in of robotics. So Kylie is doing some. So if the robotics is working with the visualization, then our work will be to galvanize the two parameters, right? So we will be. It's just like when you invented 3D Studio Max back in the 90s. Everyone was scared of losing the job, but it really killed all the traditional renderers, right? Where they used the spray painters and all. They're gone. So I don't think the question is about whether it wipes out designers. I think we should reinvent what we do. Secondly, I think we should think about what our responsibility for the society, for the environment. I think modernism has done its good, but its damages to our world, right? Because we're tuning out spaces, useless architecture, and useless products. And it's exacerbated by globalism, right? So you can do it in Vietnam and you can ship it to Istanbul, right? But then because AI revolutionized it, how we design, and robotics will help manufacture it, right? At least the prototyping or the product. It liberates us to do something else. So we are. I'm surprised that we didn't talk about ESG today. And I did a lot, and you know, right? And you did some, but I think our role will be much more about balancing all the parameters. I really enjoyed William's presentation because you're talking about how our role seems to be. Our role seems to change into someone who can smartly manipulate all these parameters. You have a circle with all those dots. I think that's what designers should be doing in the future, not just printing out pretty drawings and printing out with concrete, right? It's just totally wrong. So we should be more socially responsible. We should be economically responsible. We should be thinking about the children, welfare of the elderlies. We should help our clients save money, right? We should think about the urban context. We should be thinking much more like a generalist, but more than an artist, right? I think that is what we need to do. So I think the redefinition of our role will go hand in hand, hopefully, with the development of AI and robotics. So that's my take. What do you think?
Yeah, I agree with Manfred. But in addition to that, actually, I can see there will be different types, different kinds of designers. You still have the type of designer who is still doing hand drawings, just like those craftsmen. They would never disappear. Yeah, but also you have another kind of designers like us. We work with our AI bot hand in hand. Yeah, so it's just different approaches. I think that's one thing that cannot be replaced by AI. It's emotional value, like that. It's the direct human interaction. That is hard to train, even for human, right? It takes time to learn to read someone's emotion and to digest and to give response. And I think I don't see AI as a competitor. but it's actually a new tool, it's actually a new army that we can work with us. What do you think?
Yeah, absolutely agree with it. And I believe that, if we look back, we're always saying that if we look back to the history, we will know the future. Think about the days that without machinery. So everything we need to do it by our hand. So now we got all the machine. Does that mean our muscle doesn't appreciate anymore? We still appreciate like doing gym and our personal strength. I believe that is just a transform that we spend our time to be better used in something else. I think with the AI technology, it's just about we can focus more in ideas and emotion and creation. And then with the support of AI technology, we can better use our time to contribute to the society.
Anybody else?
Let me chip in. As a fashion and product designer, for what I have been doing for the past few years, I think it's more about the user experience. So that's why I agree with Kylie. Like, we might have to more interact, like what I did, like I'm doing all the research by some dialogue with the patient, with the physiotherapist, to see how we could use our smart textile to comfort the user, which we are not able to ask AI though. But it could be another tools for what we could do some other application. But the main issue is about how the user use it, or how we're gonna use at the end of the day use our design in what other respect or aspect or whatever it is. So so let's see what's going next. But what we can do is play around with it and then make our creation much better, I would say.
Thank you. I think to sum it up really quickly is human understands human the best, and we should continue to reinvent our role and understand each other better and create better designs. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, Mr. Kwan and distinguished speakers. Please join me in giving another round of applause to them. And would you all please remain on stage and move forward for the photo? Thank you. Thank you. You can go off the stage. Thank you. And ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us right through the conclusion of the afternoon sessions. If you are interested in meeting our Hong Kong startups and service providers, be sure to visit their booths outside this room in the exhibition area. And we would love to hear your comments and thoughts, so please share your valuable feedback with us by scanning the QR code on the screen and completing our questionnaire. And please bring along all your personal belongings with you and leave the SI headset at your seat. Thank you, and we wish to see you again in our future events.